What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks again for joining me. If you're here today, it's probably because you're seeing all the blood in the streets, in the markets, and you're just like, I don't know what to do. My whole portfolio's down. I'm losing everything. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my money. I'm losing my house. I'm losing my wife. Whatever the case may be. But yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about some moves that I'm going to be making soon. And mainly about this, right? The Wall Street week ahead, inflation data, next focus for investors. So I want to talk about this because this is kind of a big deal. This was actually posted yesterday. It is Monday, the 7th of February now. And I wanted to go over this, how I'm interpreting it, what I'm going to be doing about it. And I kind of just want to talk about the state of affairs of my stock portfolio and possibly your stock portfolio and just the market in general and kind of where I think we're going. So yeah, it's not going to be a super long video, but it's going to be kind of a decently long video compared to some of my other ones. But let's talk about this. We're going to talk about this inflation data. Now, before we begin, just remember I am not a financial advisor. Just a guy on the internet. I love stocks. I like talking about money and other things. And that's all this is. It's just for fun. So if you see this and you're like, oh, he told me to do it. I did not tell you to do it. This is just for fun. Don't take advice from people off of YouTube unless it's something that you're building or doing something like that. But definitely don't take financial advice from people off of YouTube. All right. So yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So this Thursday, which I think is 8, 9, 10. The 10th of February, I think, is Tuesday. Or Thursday, sorry. Yeah, the 10th of February, we're going to see the Consumer Price Index for January. And they are expecting the inflation to rise about 0.5%. And that's going to culminate in a 7.3% raise, which would be the largest since 1982, which is pretty bad because I'm actually younger than that. So we haven't seen inflation like this in my lifetime, which is pretty crazy because I am an 80s baby. But this could actually be worse. We're expecting 0.5%, right? Like we're expecting that, but things can actually be worse. If it comes in at like 0.7, 0.8, and we're in the maybe 7.5, 7.6 range, and then we're going to have an even worse talk, right? Because inflation's a big deal, right? It can, like they're quoting right here, it has the potential to cut the market off at the knees, right? What we're seeing right now, that could be the tip of the iceberg, to be honest with you. And we've been kind of spoiled, to be honest. Like you would think like, oh no, it's been a rough 2 years. Yeah, it's been a rough 2 years, but we've actually been relatively spoiled. I mean, they've been pumping money into this market. Stocks are at all-time high valuations. People are paying extremely high PE ratios for stuff. They're paying way more than stuff's worth for a lot of stocks, and it's kind of like flying to the sky. What's that old story? Icarus, right? He made the wax wings, right? He's going up to fly, and the closer he gets to the sun, the worse it gets because he's starting to get high enough to where the wings actually melt, and then he just comes crashing down. And we're all like him. We're all like Icarus, right? We're flying high. Nothing can go wrong, but there is a point where we are just going to get too high, too close to the sun, and our wings are going to melt, and we're going to be shown the ground really quick. So, unfortunately, I think that 0.5% is honestly optimistic. I'm trying to be as positive as possible, but I'm seeing maybe 0.6, 0.7. It could be even worse, folks, and it may not be stopping anytime soon, right? And that's where we're going to start seeing the rate hikes come in. And when the rate hikes come in, there's going to be a lot of pain. Now, not to say that this will not pass. I mean, eventually things pass. We've been through a ton of crashes. I mean, we've been through the Great Depression. We've been through everything, and we've always made it out, right? So my advice, or things that I'm doing, actually, this isn't even really advice. This is what I'm going to be doing. My thought process on this is, if you're a day trader or a swing trader, this market's going to be pretty rough. It's going to be pretty tough to predict. There's going to be a lot of volatility. I mean, you're probably seeing it in crypto right now. I think I get alerts Like every 5 minutes, I get an alert. It's like Bitcoin is down 13%. Bitcoin's up 14%. I'm seeing all this stuff. I'm like, man, you could probably do some really big swing trades on this, but you could also get really burned if you don't know what you're doing too. So there may be possibility for that. I would say if you're going to be doing like options or swing or just day trading, your best bet's probably like puts, selling covered calls to gullible people. These are probably your best bets. And unfortunately, I don't see you flipping, huge amounts of money like in like 2020, buying and then like a week later you're up like 50, to 70%, and then you sell and you're just raking money. I really don't see that happening. It's going to be very tricky to navigate those waters. Me personally, if I do anything like that, I will probably sell covered calls. Maybe put maybe some puts. I don't even know. They have to be something worthwhile where I just know that I'm going to win every single time. And those are probably going to be the only things I do as far as like day trading or like options trading, right? Like I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be buying calls. You buy calls right now, I guarantee you're losing your money. I mean, there's just no way around that. So that's kind of how I'm approaching the short term. Now, the long term is a totally different story. If you're an investor, is what's happening right now going to matter in 20, 30, 35, 40, I mean, 40 years is pretty long, but is this going to matter in a couple decades? It may matter in a couple decades, or it may not. But you have better odds of beating what's happening right now if you just hold out, right? Like I always tell people for my portfolio, about probably around up to 5% of my portfolio is my play around money, right? Because I have a 6-figure portfolio. Like I'm not gonna go into details, but I have quite a bit of money. I'm not quite at the 7-figure just yet. That is the goal, and I hope to have that done here shortly, within the next few years. But I'm up there. I have enough money to where if I lose it, it'll hurt, and I'll cry. But my whole like thesis on trading or like stocks is, always like never put all your money into like your gambles, right? Like you don't want a portfolio like 100% of your portfolio being put into like a SPAC or something like that, right? 95% of my portfolio is probably, I would say, what I gear towards like, like big, good, safe investments or like investments where I know I'm not going to get burned too hard, right? Like Apple's a good one, right? Tesla is also in there, companies like that, where I'm just not too concerned about, the company because I just don't see the company failing. And then, 5% of that is like SPACs and like gamble kind of plays and hype plays, like just kind of mess around money, I guess you could say. So I do have a decent amount of money in that, but I'm not gambling my like life away on those things, right? It's not the wisest decision in my opinion. You are definitely gambling. That's why you hear people say this is a casino because it is. These companies are not profitable yet, they may be, but they also may not make it through what's coming. So that's something to consider, right? So yeah, I guess my advice or like what I'm going to be doing is basically just putting money into, companies that have decent earnings, good earnings, can show that they're profitable, maybe have dividends that are associated with them so I can collect money during all the headaches that are coming. And not so much, throwing a ton of cash at a company who's, making a robotic arm that will, cook or something, something where it's going to be like, it's a great idea. I don't know how long it's going to take to be profitable. It could be 10 years. It could not even make it. They could crash and burn. I don't want to put my money into that, especially right now. We're heading into a bear market, in my opinion, and we're kind of already there, to be honest with you. But I definitely don't see putting all your money into speculative plays during a bear market as being a wise decision, right? So there's that. Now, if you're here and you're wondering like, okay, well, what do I do like right now? Like I'm losing money in my stocks. I don't want to buy stocks because, what happens if I buy stocks and then it keeps dipping, and there's this old quote, and I think one of the Rothschilds is the one who actually quoted it, but he says, when there's blood, I think it was, always buy when there's blood in the streets, even if some of that blood is your own, right? And that's how I live, right? Like, that's how I invest. If I'm bleeding, everybody's bleeding with me. I'm going to keep investing. I'm going to cost average in, like dollar cost average in. I never think it's a wise decision to just take all your money and throw it in on the same day. If you're going to be cost averaging in, or like dollar cost averaging in, if you're like getting blown away right now in the stock market, what you do is you take a little bit here on this day, you throw it in. Next day you take a little bit, you throw it in. The next day you take it in and throw it in. And then this way you kind of hit, all the days rather than just getting burned on one day, right? It's the safest way you can go about doing things. So that's something to consider. I would say keep investing. Invest in companies that in 10, 20 years are going to be worth way more money and make a lot more money, right? And that's the best approach. Now, my strategy right now, I got about like 15 grand just kind of set aside in cash. I'm not investing that just yet. I do want to see where we go and how hard we fall. And if I miss and we beat expectations and the inflation data is starting to improve, oh well, I'll buy in then. But I just don't see that. I see inflation going up, and I see panic starting to happen even more, and then the fear and volatility happening even more. And at that point, I think the wise decision is just kind of wait and kind of see, when the best chance to get in is, and then take your opportunity to do that. But that's kind of where I'm going with this. I think for the next year and a half ish, maybe 2 years. I don't know if 2 years is going to happen. Maybe like a year and like almost 2 years. Like end of 2023 will probably be when I think we'll start to kind of see the turnaround. But this is our opportunity to kind of, level up our share count, right? Like buy as many shares of stuff that you are confident in as you can. That way, when the turnaround happens and we start kind of seeing our escape from inflation and kind of going back to a normal, setup, at that point, now you got all these shares, compounding kicks in. I'm sure you've all seen a video where they talk about compounding on stocks. This stuff starts to kick in, and then bam, the money flow like just comes in fast, almost like a tsunami. And that's where you make your money. But you got to ask yourself, do I have the patience for that, right? And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take patience. It's going to take confidence. You're going to have to be confident in the things that you are, you have a belief will do well. And you can't be scared. You just can't be scared during this market, or else you're not going to be able to take advantage of anything that it's offering. So, that's my advice. That's the things I'm going to be doing. If you guys are going to be doing anything different, or if you have any kind of strategies that you're going to be utilizing, go ahead and let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the like button, especially if you do like the video, right? But it really helps me out. I'm trying to expand the channel just a little bit more. I want to kind of get some word out on it, and hopefully, get some more subscribers. That's always my goal. Speaking of that, don't forget to hit the notification bell and the subscribe buttons if you haven't done so already. And yeah, we'll make it through this together, everyone. I am 100% confident of that. I will see you guys in the next video. Hope you're having a great day. Take care of yourselves, and peace.